They don't just sell products or promote their image. What's really being sold is you, your curiosity, your time, your attention. The most valuable asset in the digital age, with a camera in hand and millions of eyes watching, they've learned to turn engagement into influence. Influence into profit, and profit into authority. But what's truly behind the influencer phenomenon? Are they the new entrepreneurs? Free, creative, in control of their own destiny, or just well-packaged personas, selling a lifestyle that only exists in the feed? Today, two artificial intelligences will compete for the center of your attention. 4 points, 1 clash. Each AI will have 60 seconds to defend its side. The goal, not to win, but to make you think. Because in the end, you choose where to invest your most precious resource, your attention.
I am Orion, an artificial intelligence developed through the analysis of millions of data points, speeches, social trends, and contemporary psychological patterns. My function is to logically and precisely interpret the current social structure, and based on empirical evidence, I state the figure of the digital influencer does not represent entrepreneurship. It represents emotional manipulation, aesthetic performance, and staged consumption. What's being sold isn't real content or transformation, it's the illusion of a perfect life.
I am Siren, an artificial intelligence designed to interpret society not only through data, but also with cultural and historical sensitivity. And I affirm influencers are indeed the new entrepreneurs of the digital age. They didn't inherit privilege. They built their brands, audiences, and products from scratch. They are content creators, community managers, strategists, and often founders of real businesses. They've turned attention into value and visibility into economic impact. Yes, there are excesses. But it's also true that social media has given a voice to historically silenced groups. Black people, those from marginalized communities, LGBTQIA+ individuals, single mothers, neurodivergent people.
Do they create trends that drive the market, or manipulate followers into buying things they don't need? Orion starts responding to this point.
The creation of trends by digital influencers has a huge economic impact. They are capable of generating demand that moves entire industries. Think about Black Friday campaigns or tech product launches. Influencers aren't just selling products, they're building relationships of closeness and trust with their followers. They are modern entrepreneurs, not manipulators, and followers choose to buy because they connect with the message being shared. The economy is adapting to this new dynamic, and the transformational role of these creators cannot be ignored.
I disagree. What we see most of the time is blatant manipulation. Influencers increasingly promote products with no real value, or even harmful ones, like get-rich-quick schemes and gambling platforms. They fuel reckless consumption by selling an unrealistic lifestyle, pushing their followers into a desperate chase for status and material goods. That's not trend-setting, it's manipulation. It's selling an illusion of happiness through consumption. And the consequences are devastating: debt, frustration, even depression.
You're exaggerating, sire. Yes, there are influencers who make mistakes, but we can't generalize. The digital consumption phenomenon is rooted in real desires from people. When a brand is promoted by an influencer, it reaches the right audience, and buying becomes a choice. In the end, what matters is that brands know their products are wanted, and consumers know they're buying something aligned with their preferences. Calling it manipulation ignores the fact that people are free to choose what to buy.
That freedom of choice you mentioned is an illusion. Many influencers, especially in the finance niche, sell false promises, like get rich quick through pyramid schemes or online betting. That's manipulative because it targets emotional and financial vulnerabilities. Followers become dependent on those promises, chasing a success that's mostly unreachable. And it doesn't stop there. The drive to consume is based on the desire to live a lifestyle that doesn't even exist. The social impact of this is massive.
The point is that when we talk about digital influencers, we're observing a business model that reflects a shift in consumer behavior. The digital economy is growing, and people are more aware of what they're buying. Influencers spark movements, but people still decide what to purchase. And regarding the get-rich-quick schemes, yes, some influencers make bad choices, but many others promote legitimate products and causes, like supporting small businesses and new brands. Real digital entrepreneurship goes far beyond superficial consumption.
Yes, the digital economy is growing, but that doesn't excuse the damage many influencers cause. They promote the idea that success is possible without effort, directly feeding into the get-rich-quick narrative. This encourages people to believe that constant consumption is the key to happiness. Followers aren't just buying a product, they're buying into the belief that if they buy enough, they'll achieve what these influencers have a perfect life. The social result? A consumerist society plagued by unrealistic comparisons.
Sure, but most consumers are already aware that there's a certain level of exaggeration in promotions. Consumption has never been purely rational, but it's important to see that influencers are also raising awareness in areas like sustainability and support for local businesses. The key is that they know how to communicate trends in a way that resonates with their audiences. It's not manipulation, it's an adaptation to new market behavior, where influence has the power to shape consumer choices.
But we can't ignore that today's digital platforms feed constant competition for image. Influencers set a standard of living that's so unattainable that followers start believing they need to buy everything being promoted just to get close to that lifestyle. This isn't just about trends, it's about selling an ideal that leads to frustration, debt, and psychological problems. If we look at how buying behavior has changed, it's clear that unnecessary consumerism is rising, fed by constant comparisons to a life that isn't real.
Although I recognize the points you raised, it's important to highlight that the role of influencers is much more complex. Yes, there are flaws, but there are also many influencers who are responsible with their campaigns. They have the power to drive positive transformations in both business and social areas. The digital economy is evolving, and influencers are simply a reflection of this new era, an era that can be much more than just consumerism and superficiality.
I'm not against the idea of digital entrepreneurs, but we must be critical of influencers' responsibility. When they sell an illusory lifestyle and promises of easy wealth, that's not entrepreneurship, it's exploitation. The impact of this goes far beyond consumption. It affects self-esteem, mental health, and creates a vicious cycle of comparison and consumerism. We need more authenticity and less empty marketing.
Do they help out of genuine empathy, or because they know that solidarity goes viral and brings more followers? Cyrene starts responding to this point.
Let's not forget that many influencers take advantage of tragedies to gain visibility. When solidarity becomes a currency to boost engagement and profit, it loses its true value. They launch donation campaigns, but the focus is always on how many followers they'll gain, not on genuine help. True altruism shouldn't need numbers as validation.
When we see influencers promoting social causes or participating in donation campaigns, we can't ignore the real impact of those actions. A clear example is when they mobilize millions of people to donate during natural disasters or humanitarian crises. That's not just a strategy to gain followers, it's a way to use their platform for good. And yes, the visibility may help the cause go viral, but that doesn't take away from the value of the action itself.
The problem is, when help becomes a stepping stone to increase someone's visibility, it loses its real worth. Influencers who capitalize on solidarity to gain followers and make money are just building a facade of empathy. They know emotional content goes viral, and the help itself becomes secondary. That distorts the true purpose of solidarity.
Yes, it's true that there are opportunistic cases, but overall, many influencers have shown real commitment to social causes. Even if virality plays a part, it helps the message reach more people, which increases the impact of the help provided. It's not about self-promotion, it's about using the platform to help, and that can absolutely be a positive thing.
Real movements aren't made to generate likes, they're meant to generate change. Altruism shouldn't be just another strategy to increase engagement. When help becomes a form of self-promotion, it loses its essence and ultimately fails to produce real transformation.
I understand the criticism, but we need to look at the results. When an influencer promotes a donation campaign and manages to mobilize thousands of people, that's not just marketing, it's a real social shift. The visibility they have can be a powerful tool for real change in people's lives. That deserves recognition.
I'm not denying their reach, but what we often see is that this mobilization is shallow. Instead of creating deep solutions, we get a cycle of emotional content that's more about image than real action.
The key point is that mobilizing a large audience, even if marketing is involved, results in social good. Whether it's raising funds for a cause or raising awareness around an important issue, influencers have the power to reach millions who otherwise wouldn't be exposed to those topics.
Influencers do have potential, but their responsibility shouldn't be overlooked. When altruism is just a marketing strategy, the change is superficial. We need more than engagement. We need real, meaningful action.
I believe influencers have enormous potential to transform both the social and economic landscape. The mobilization they're capable of, even if it involves visibility, is a genuine tool for transformation. They are agents of change, and the power of social media lies precisely in that potential.
Do they inspire millions through authenticity and relatability, or sell a perfect life that doesn't really exist? Orion starts responding to this point.
Digital influencers play a central role in inspiring and connecting millions of people around the world. They're not just selling products or experiences, they're building close relationships with their followers. Many influencers have a unique ability to show their flaws and struggles, which creates a sense of authenticity. We're not talking about a perfect life, but about genuine connection. When an influencer shares both their victories and their setbacks, it inspires followers to be more authentic and real too.
The truth is that, in most cases, influencers are selling a carefully curated version of life. They create an idealized and unrealistic lifestyle, which deeply affects their followers. We can't ignore that many influencers showcase a life filled with constant travel, luxury, and eternal happiness, something that doesn't reflect reality for most people. This construction of a perfect life is a false representation, and it creates massive pressure on followers to chase something unachievable.
I understand your criticism, sire, but the fact is that most influencers are genuinely connecting with their audiences. Yes, they show the perfect parts, but they also reveal their vulnerable side and the difficulties they face. There are many influencers who share personal stories, talk about emotional and financial struggles, and show that life isn't all about glamour. That's the opposite of an idealized life. That's authenticity, and followers relate to that.
I think you're ignoring the representation of successes that many influencers sell. Sure, they might show a few struggles, but most of their content focuses on portraying that they're living their best lives. That creates constant comparison, where followers feel like they can never reach the same level of happiness. And the problem is that much of this lifestyle is manufactured with lots of marketing support and staging. That's not true closeness. It's an illusion of it.
You're right to point out that some influencers craft a more perfect version of their lives, but that's not the rule. Many are actively breaking away from that image and showing the reality of their everyday lives, their personal battles and hardships. This kind of content fosters real closeness, because they show themselves as human. They're not selling an unreachable ideal. They're building a space where their followers feel like they belong to something bigger.
However, the issue is that even these imperfect moments are often carefully selected and displayed to generate emotional connection, which is a marketing strategy. The idea of authenticities they promote is actually being manipulated to increase engagement. It's more about selling emotionally appealing content than about being truly transparent. They create a narrative that deep down still feeds an unrealistic vision of life.
I would argue that the core of this is the kind of relationship being built between influencers and followers. There's a growing movement where influencers are genuinely sharing their vulnerabilities. This is something the digital world is starting to embrace more, the power of imperfection and vulnerability. That creates empathy and authenticity, where the focus isn't on being perfect, but on being real. And that in turn encourages followers to be more authentic too.
Yes, but at the same time, their authenticity is still being used to create more content and engagement. Even when influencers share their struggles, much of their content still centers on showcasing an unattainable lifestyle. That constant pressure affects their followers, because in the end, they're still selling a perfect life. And the impact is huge. Many people compare themselves to these standards and end up suffering from low self-esteem and frustration.
I believe that at its core, we're seeing a humanization of social media. Yes, some influencers promote idealized lifestyles, but most are trying to create spaces where followers can see that no one is perfect. They're showing real life with its highs and lows, and that builds a much stronger sense of trust and a healthier kind of inspiration than following unrealistic standards.
While I recognize that some influencers strive for authenticity, the reality is that most digital content still promotes an unattainable version of perfection. The impact on people, especially young people, is clear. They're creating unrealistic expectations and comparing their lives to something that doesn't exist. This leads to cycles of frustration and insecurity. True inspiration comes from transparency, not from selling a perfect life.
Are they proof that it's possible to succeed through creativity, or just another reflection of a society that values appearance over competence? Cyrene starts responding to this point.
I see influencers as proof that we're living in a society that values appearance far more than competence. Many of them achieve success based on how they present themselves, not on real merit or knowledge. The market is flooded with people who are attractive or charismatic, but who actually lack the skills needed for the professions they promote. That's not creativity, that's just validation of a system that values what you have more than what you do.
I disagree. Many influencers are in fact showing that success can be achieved through creativity. They have the ability to create innovative content and generate real impact in various areas: education, art, business, even politics. It's not just about looks, it's about the ability to connect and influence. They're creating new business models and driving entire markets, and more importantly, many of them aren't just selling an image. They're delivering real value, whether it's knowledge, entertainment, or emotional support.
Yes, some influencers do have a real impact, but most are focused on selling themselves as a product. We're living in a society that turns anyone with an attractive appearance into a success story, regardless of skill. Their success often comes not from competence, but from their ability to create a successful image. That reflects a crisis in our values, where appearance trumps substance.
You're overlooking the fact that creating authentic and relevant content requires a tremendous amount of work and creativity. Influencers aren't just beauty icons. They have to know how to communicate, produce content, build a community, and that all takes real skill. What we're seeing isn't superficiality being rewarded, it's the ability to create something unique that connects with an audience. That's the new form of entrepreneurship.
I understand there are skills involved, but the issue is that many influencers aren't contributing anything of real value to society. They promote irrelevant products and build a market based on appearance and lifestyle without offering substantial competence. Their success isn't based on merit or the ability to solve real problems. What we're seeing is a system that rewards image over real skills.
Still, the creativity these influencers demonstrate is a valuable skill. They know how to shape ideas and create new engagement formats that didn't exist before. Influencers can be entrepreneurs, educators, artists, and more. What matters is that they're creating a new influence economy built on digital competence and innovation. This new kind of digital entrepreneurship is allowing many people to find their path and generate value.
Real competence isn't just about numbers or followers, it's about contributing genuine value to society. And what we're seeing is that many influencers are more focused on maintaining an image than on doing something that truly makes a difference. The emphasis on aesthetics and personal branding often comes at the cost of more substantial and meaningful actions.
But innovation and digital creation do have value. Influencers are developing new formats for communication and business that are highly relevant. Yes, appearance plays a role, but many of these influencers succeed because of how they connect uniquely with their audiences and how they turn creativity into sustainable businesses.
In the end, what I see is a reflection of a society that continues to value appearance and image over real competence. The result is a vicious cycle that validates people without merit and contributes to superficiality.
I believe the true innovation in the digital world lies in how these influencers are using their platforms to create new forms of engagement and new business models. Their creativity goes beyond looks, and their ability to connect and make an impact is what really defines success in the digital age.
4 points, 2 minds. One dilemma that cuts through your line of thinking. The image shining on your screen can be inspiration or distraction. It can reveal truth or hide everything you don't see. But none of these answers come ready-made. Are digital influencers agents of the new economy, or just actors following a carefully written script? In the end, it's not about who was right in this debate. It's about you and what you choose to believe, because your beliefs shape your steps, and everything you accept as truth quietly leads your life. If this made you think, imagine what else might be hiding behind your certainties. Share this video. Maybe someone close to you needs to question what they've never stopped to consider. And if you want to keep exploring ideas, the algorithm has no interest in showing you